Good morning, Rechavia Nachlaot, right here in Yerushalayim. Thank you so much for joining us for our morning Shiur over here in Chassidus and Tanya. And most recently, we started Sha'ar, ha-Yichud ve'emunah, Perek Aleph, chapter 1, and it's great that we're able to continue and to learn this special chapter. Now, we've been learning about the fact that there's a spark of godliness within every single object in the world. Without that spark of godliness, it would simply cease to exist. Where does the the spark of godliness come from? That's the letters from which HaShem created the world within the 10 utterances right in the beginning of the Torah and the beginning of the creation of the world. And so the Alter Rebbe yesterday asked a question. There are a very limited amount of objects in the world that we can actually trace and to see clearly how their source is in the Asara Ma'amarot, in the 10 utterances. So how is it that Even, for example, stone, Aleph Bet Nun, is in the 10 Commandments. We don't see it. If you open up the Chumash, beginning of Bereshit, Genesis, you will not find the word Even clearly in the Asara Ma'amarot, in 10 Commandments. So where do these three letters, where does the word Even come from? And that should be the life force of all the stones and the rocks in the world. And so the Alter Rebbe explains that there are different ways how to find many words and letters in the 10 utterances, in the Asara Ma'amarot. The best thing is to find something clearly, like Yehirakia, there should be a heaven. But there are other ways of finding words. For example, you have every single letter of the alphabet, each one of the 22 letters, the Hebrew letters of the alphabet, you have them in the first chapter. And so if you take one from here and one from there, and you connect them, that's the first way. It's called tzirufim, combinations. And you can make a new word. And in that itself, you have different ways. You could have a combination, one letter of the first word, one letter of the third word, and one letter of the 10th word. So it's in the right order. But then you can have one letter from the 20th word, then one letter from the third word, then one letter from the 7th word, so it's back and forth. But if we follow Hashem's guidance, then hopefully we're able to find the source of the words, of the names of many thousands, millions, and billions of objects in the world. They're all there in the first chapter of the Torah. Another way how to find letters, how to find the words in the first chapter is through chilufim. It's a little bit more removed than even the combinations, but the chilufim are exchanges of the letters. So as we spoke yesterday, you can find that the Aleph, for example, can be exchanged for the Taf. The Bet can be exchanged for the Shin. The Gimel can be exchanged for the Reish. And the Dalet can be exchanged for the Kuf, and so on and so forth. That's how we figure out what day of the week the different Chagim are going to fall out on, because we have different guidelines based on, for example, if you want to have a little nice anecdote, it's a little bit off topic, but as a little anecdote, that if that the first day of Pesach is Aleph, the number Aleph is number 1, Bet is number 2, Gimel is number 3, and so on and so forth. So if, for example, we take the days of Pesach, Aleph, the first day of Pesach, is the same as Taf. So the Taf stands for Tisha B'Av. So the same night of the Seder is going to be the same night of Tisha B'Av that coming year. So for example, this year, the night of the Seder was Thursday night, Thursday evening. So Tisha B'Av is going to be, it was Wednesday evening, Atbash, Loy Badu Pesach, So I'm sorry, it was Wednesday evening. The night of the Seder was Wednesday evening. Because the first day of Pesach cannot fall out, that's a whole other subject, cannot fall out on a Friday. So it was Wednesday evening and Thursday. So this year Tisha B'Av is going to be on a Thursday. The second day of Pesach was a Thursday evening and Friday. So that's Shin, Shavuot. It's exactly what it was. The first day of Shavuot was Thursday night. The next one is Reish. So the third day of Pesach, which is Friday night and Shabbat, is the Reish. The Reish stands for Rosh Hashanah. So Rosh Hashanah means that Rosh Hashanah is going to be on Shabbat this year. The first day of Rosh Hashanah is going to be on Shabbat, and the second day of Rosh Hashanah is going to be on Sunday. So on and so forth. You can figure out many things of the calendar. It's fascinating the way that the Hebrew alphabet is built into to our world and our personalities and in the Torah. And there was one point that I did not have a chance to explain yesterday, and I'm going to allude to that. I'm going to try to explain it right now. If you're looking at the text of the Tanya, you'll see, I believe it's right at the bottom of the first page. It says, by the chilufim, the interchanged letters, it says, hamidgalgalot, which roll and can be interchanged, bereish lamed aleph sha'arim, with 231 gates, panim ve'achor, going forward and backwards, kamo shekatuv b'sefer Yitzirah, as it said in Sefer Yitzirah. So let's try to explain this concept. First, let me tell you what it says. I believe in the Zohar, I'm not sure exactly. It says, Shnei avanim bonot shnei batim, arba avanim bonot arba batim. So this is going to lead us into the explanation of what I'm trying to explain over here, what the Alter Rebbe says. What does it mean, Shnei avanim bonot shnei batim? It means as follows. Shnei avanim, you have two rocks. You can build two types of structures. If you have one rock alone, you cannot build something from it. It's only when you have at least two, then you can start building some kind of structure. Whether you can, it depends what size they are. But let's say you can build them like horizontally, or one on top of the other. One is on top and it's sticking out so it can cover over. There are different ways how to build buildings, of course. Obviously, if you have 100 rocks and 1,000 and 1,000,000, you can build a much larger structure. But you can still build something, some kind of quote-unquote home from that. So what does that mean? We're not just telling us how to become builders and constructors. What it means is that each letter is a rock. The Aleph is a rock. The Bet is a rock. So one letter itself, you can't really build a word. Batim, a home, is a word in the sense of letters. A number of letters together, you already have at least two. You already have some kind of structure, so to speak, quote unquote. So let's take an example. Aleph, Bet, the two letters. Aleph and a Bet. Aleph, just an Aleph is a nice word, a letter, but it's not a word per se. It's just a letter. So Aleph, Bet, put them together, is Av. Av means a father. Now pay attention that you can take the same two letters, switch them around, Bet and Aleph. Instead of having first the Aleph and then the Bet, you can have first the Bet and then the Aleph, which means that's also a Hebrew word. Ba. Ba means he came. Ba. So what do we have over here? Shnei avanim bonot shnei batim. Just two rocks, two letters can already build two homes. What? Two different types of words. You can have Av, and you can have Ba. So that's the concept of the introduction. Now that we understand that, what it says in the Sefer Yetzirah is as follows. You can take the 22 letters and connect each letter with another letter. So how much is 22 times 21? Because each letter you're connecting to another letter. not 2 itself. How much is 22? Please type over here in the comments. How much is 22 times 21? Don't worry, I have all day. I'm kidding around. I look forward to seeing some of the comments over here. I already see some good mornings and boker tovs and some... אתה צודק, אני מצטער. Okay, let's see if anybody has your... maybe it's too early in the morning to make mathematical calculations, but I'm just pulling over to the side so that we can continue the class. I'm with you. We have Baruch Hashem, a number of followers. And let's see, here we go. Shalom Ahuva, Stacy, Rachel, Chanoch, Malka Ruth, Abigail. Wow. Okay, Rachel. Thank you, Abigail. 462. Thank you very much. 462. Now, 462 is the amount of each one of each letter, the way it connects to other letters. Now, we have to cut that in half. How much is 462 divided by half? Divided in half? Divided by 2? Let's see over here. Okay, we have some thumbs up, but let's see some numbers, please. How much is 462 divided in half? Let's see, Reb Tuvia. Please help us out over here. We need your help. 231. Thank you, Rachel. 231. That's exactly Reish Lamed Aleph. That's the words over here. Hamidgalgalot bereish Lamed Aleph Sha'arim. Why cut in half? Because you have Panim ve'achor. Panim goes forwards, and achor goes backwards. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Yasher koach. Yossi, Tuvia, Bernadette. Wow, great. Yasher koach. Abigail. So, let's say I have the aleph and the bet. In the example that we brought earlier. Shnei avanim, bonot shnei batim. 2 rocks can build 2 homes. So you have the aleph and the bet, and you have the bet and the aleph. So because in the cycle of aleph, please put on your thinking caps for a second. Maybe you want to take a good coffee, or maybe a good l'chaim. That'll be easy. I'm telling you, if you have a l'chaim, everything will fit into place. I'm kidding around. Okay, so if you have the aleph bet, the aleph and then the bet, then when you go the bet and the aleph, you already have the same 2 letters. So once I start with a bet cycle, let's say I do aleph bet. Let's say I do aleph bet, aleph gimel, aleph dalet, aleph hey, aleph vav, and so on and so forth until the end. Then I start from bet. Bet aleph, gimel, bet aleph, bet gimel, bet dalet, bet hey. That's the cycle of the bet. So because I already did the aleph and the bet, that's panim, that's going forward. So the achor, the bet aleph, I could take that away. In other words, I could subtract any time that I already did the forward. I don't really need the backward. So the bottom line is that if I have 462 and I divide them in half, because I don't need both ways, each letter matches with the other letter, I don't need forward and backward. I could have it if I want, but it's a little superfluous. So if I just have going forward, panim, that should be enough. Of course, that's 231. And of course, you want to finish it off. You want to show me other combinations, no problem. But at the end of the day, it's going to be the same 2 letters. Regardless if you do the aleph and the bet forward or backwards, which would be bet and the aleph. So in summary, it's called Sha'arim. Sha'arim means gates. If you want to get into a subject, then you need the letters in order to to introduce you. So when you want to know a word, you want to get into a subject, you have to open the door. You have to open the gate in order to get into it. You want to get into it, so you have to see what the letter is. If you speak that language, then you can be introduced to the subject. But if it's a foreign language, then it's gonna be in Rechavia we have all the languages that you need. But if I speak French, or if I speak Japanese, or if I speak Italian, for me, I don't understand what it's going. I just speak a little bit of French, a drop of Italian, but I don't really speak those languages. For me, that's French. For me, that's a foreign language. So if it's a foreign language, I'm not going to be able to get into the home. I'm not going to get into this batim. I'm not going to be able to get into the concept because I have no idea what's going on. I have no clue into the subject. That's why it's called a sha'ar. So a bayit, a home, a word, when you have a combination of a number of letters together, then you have a word. That's called a sha'ar. If I understand the word, then that is the entrance into where I can be introduced to a new concept which I did not know, which I was not aware of before I opened the gate. That's why a word is called a sha'ar. So if we look in the text, it says, V'chilufei otiyot. This is another way of doing combinations. V'chilufei otiyot hamidgalgalot bereish lamed aleph sharim, which are rolling, which are being developed, which are being unraveled. How? Through the Reish Lamed Aleph 231, as we explained earlier, Sha'arim gates. Then, once you have the first step of 231, then we go to the next step, Panim ve'achor. Panim is going forward, and achor is going backwards. So, for example, the Aleph Bet is going forward, but the combination of Bet Aleph, same letters, but it's just going backwards. So it's a whole new word, a whole new concept, but it's the same two letters. So in summary, we can have different types of combinations. Just like we said earlier, that when we talked about the tzirufim, the combinations. So you have the letters, it's just that the letters might be in order, might be backwards, might be intermixed. Either way you cut the cake, the letters are the same letters. Then now you have the chilufim, the exchange of the letters. So because you have a home of at least two letters, so these two letters indicate something. They're part of a home. So you can try to put a focus on the first letter, because that's first. Or you can put a focus on both letters together. Or you can put a focus of panim, going forward, or achor, going backward. In other words, either way we set up the letters, HaShem has many ways how to find every single object in the world in the first chapter in the Torah, in the Asara Ma'amarot, in the 10 utterances in the Torah. Some of them are clearer, some of them are less clear. Or in other contexts, some things are closer to Hashem in a more obvious way, and some things are a little more removed. You have to dig a little bit, you have to really dig deep sometimes in order to be able to find the real connection with Hashem and with spirituality and with the Torah. And so now we've learned the subject of chilufei otiyot, interchange of letters. And then the third thing is, we spoke yesterday about the concept of gematriyaot, shehein cheshbon haotiyot, which they are the gematriyaot are the calculation of the letters. That's even further. You don't even have the letters. You have to go deep down and see what is the numerical value of the letter. In the example that I gave you yesterday, you have gan, which is the same numerical value as Evan. Evan is 1, 2, and 50, and gan is 3 and 50. Gimel is 3, and the nun is 50. So it's the same word with a totally different meaning. So you might not see the word Evan, But if you see the word gan, gan is not in the first chapter, it's in the second, I believe, for sure third. But we're talking now about the first, Asara Ma'amarot, the 10 utterances. So there, you can find every word, every letter, every concept, every entity in the world, no matter how you flip the letters, no matter how you interchange and you move them around, or you put the order different, or you take the numerical value, whatever it is, you will find every single word, every single letter, deep down, right there within the 10 utterances. Which means that we do have everything does have a source in the Lashon HaKodesh, in the holy language of Hebrew, in the Aleph Bet, and in each scenario, each object, its name in Lashon HaKodesh, the name in the holy language and the holy letters of Aleph Bet, which each one is a world for itself, that is the life force of the object. And that gives life at every single moment. HaShem continues to infuse the entire world, every object, from new. Ha-Mechadesh b'tuvo, with His goodness. Tamid Maseh Bereshit. And so therefore, I think that this is a great note on which to finish off this amazing class. And I look forward to seeing you, Bezrat Hashem, right here tomorrow morning. And tomorrow morning we're going to have the Kabbalah Cafe. Please spread the word and let's make a watch party for the Kabbalah Cafe. And you'll be able to have your l'chaim or a coffee, whatever it is with you. And this Shabbat, of course, in Chabad of Rechavia, as it stands this moment, we're going to be outside as every Shabbat, right next door to Chabad of Rechavia, in the little parking lot of Mizrahi, with their permission, of course, and social distancing. And Friday night, Shabbat morning is quite early at 8 o'clock, in order that it shouldn't be too hot. And we look forward to seeing you. Have a great evening, have a great day, have a great morning, and all the best. Be well.